Is it controversial to say that Mario Kart World is a mostly great game to play? From the knockout tour to the open world, there's so much to do. Now among this great list of things to do is the Grand Prix. Featuring 8 cups to choose from, this list at its worst is questionable, but at its best is generally some of the greatest among the series. Speaking of the best in the series, I have an interesting take to say. I hold the belief that the Mario Kart World's Mushroom Cup is the franchise's best starter cup. Some of you might be writing hate comments right now as we speak, but I have a case to make in defense of this idea. In today's video, I'm going to look at the following criteria, which are the tracks themselves, how well it works as a starter cup, and finally how well it compares to everything else in series history. If you still aren't convinced by the end of this video, I'd love to see your thoughts down below, as I think this could lead to an interesting discussion. But with that said, let's begin by analyzing the first track in this game, Mario Bros. Circuit. Acting as the game's first track, Mario Bros. Circuit has the task of introducing the player to the game's new mechanics, rail grinding and wall riding. We start off by making a slight turn to the left where you could get some item boxes. If you have a mushroom when entering lap 2, you could actually skip this turn almost entirely. Unfortunately, I just suck at the game. This shortly leads into the introduction to rail grinding. What I like about this is while you can't completely skip the grind rails entirely, the game almost encourages you to try them. This then leads into the next set of item boxes. If you took the grind rails, you could actually get doubles, but more importantly, it introduces wall riding. Albeit, if you do wall ride, it won't be for long as you'll end up back on the ground. This will then take you along a series of turns with plenty of grind rails and even wall riding opportunities if you continue down the track normally. However, if you go down here after the initial big turn to the right, you'll be able to go on a path that leads to the game's first glider section for a pretty good shortcut. This could be taken to another shortcut by going into this upper path that allows you to grind rail one last time before the track ends. Combine all this with a more American desert circuit theme instead of the traditional grassy circuit that's used in pretty much every game prior, as well as one of the best opening songs, and you have what is arguably the best opening in any Mario Kart game. The only thing that will come close would be Mario Kart 8's Mario Stadium, but for me at least, Mario Bros. Circuit is the better track overall. Moving on, we have not Crown City, as actually we get to drive there. I mean, come on, if you didn't know that by now, you gotta be slow. This is the game's first intermission, and unfortunately, it's pretty lackluster. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't hate cars or driving. Please don't tell the police I've driven without a license. But this is admittedly kind of forgettable at best and painfully boring at worst. But at least at the start, if you go off to the side, you could get some Yoshi Dash food, which if you have a main character will change your costume. I didn't change in the footage because Biker Bowser is the costume that you unlock from this food bag. Anyways, after slowly but surely going from a desert to a grassland to a city, the track actually starts to get pretty good. After taking a sharp turn to the right, you're back to driving in a straight line, but this time, it's actually good, as you get plenty of chances to either trick or grind rails. From here, lap 3 starts off with some item boxes. You'll take a gradual left and rise into the skyscrapers, riding over scaffolding with dash panels and rail grinders. This all culminates into a big jump through the giant golden tire-shaped crown that gives Crown City its respective name. From here, you'll ride back down the top of buildings, take a sharp right before entering another glider section. You have plenty of options here, as you could either go to back down street level, or you could take one of the upper paths for a potentially faster route. And that pretty much wraps everything up in a nice bow. Overall, while the intermission does drag on for a little bit, Crown City more than makes up for it by not just being an insane spectacle for the first cup in the game, it's also just a fun track to race on. I like the music here more than Mario Bros. Circuit, and I'd say compared to the usual second courses in the Mushroom Cups from the past, Crown City is one of the better, if not the best ones. Kicking us off with the second intermission, we have the route from Crown City to Whistlestop Summit. It starts off with you racing in the lower area of the city before grabbing a food item for you to change your outfit if you're a main character. Again, wearing the skin Bowser would get, before taking you uphill into the city where you'll shortly leave, making your way up another hill with spikes throwing spike balls at you. From here, another glider section awaits you, as you will enter a big open area themed around trains. Now normally I'd hate these big open spaces, but I actually don't mind this time, since for a lot of people this will be their first time playing the game. So I imagine Nintendo made this a big open space for this to be an easier intermission. Even though it is open though, there's still a lot you could do. For example, if you go far left, you could get on a moving train. If you continue down here, you can grind on top of train tracks, or you could even take a jump pad and get on top of another train. After making your way through here, you'll approach a bridge leading to Whistlestop Summit, where you can take advantage of the grind rail opportunities, or stay on the regular path to get double item boxes. Another 2 turns later and you'll begin to arrive at Whistlestop Summit. From here you could either ride the rails up here or stick to the lower path once again. Eventually these will combine back together, but not for long, because then you'll be able to grind rails almost everywhere. This continues as you progress through the track, which actually encourages you to try to take them, which is really nice to see. You could even drive next to the train. That's pretty fire. From here, you could either take the lower path, or if you're actually cool, you could take the higher path, which is slightly faster but also harder to be on. These paths will combine once more, and after one last right turn, the track will be over. I honestly really liked everything about the course itself, from the redwood trees to the music and the overall train theming. I once again think that this surpasses almost every other third Mushroom Cup track in the series history. I say almost because Mushroom Gorge, in my opinion, is on the same level, if not better, than Whistlestop Summit. But regardless, let's move on to the final track of the cup, DK Spaceport. Even though I usually say it at the end of each segment, I gotta say it right now. DK Spaceport might be the most ambitious course in series history. Even before making YouTube videos, I always felt like they would eventually make a track based on the original arcade game, like in a track themed around arcades as a whole. But I never would have thought that they'd do it in the theme of a spaceport. That's good track design. Anyways, before we can play the course, we first have to get through our third and final intermission. We start off by going through a few turns. It's nothing too special, but I like how it gets more cliff-based, adding a nice little challenge to each turn. Eventually, we leave the cliffside and enter another grassland with some of the established redwood trees to the sides of a track, making for a nice scenery change. You'll drive past some Goomba shoes and continue down an actual highway, where you can see the spaceport looming in the distance. From here, the background will become more industrial and the music will begin to hype you up for what's to come. You'll start lap 3 by driving on what I assume is a giant girder with rail grinds and even a wall you could ride before making a right turn into a glider section where you can see Robo DK roar at you. You'll have chances to trick before landing on the ground, and making another right, you'll begin to make your way up the giant red structure. This is where I gotta mention how much of a banger this song is. I genuinely love the remix of 25M. From here, the rest of the way up is what I can only describe as a boss fight. First, you'll make your way past these giant barrels using jump pads, then you'll move past barrel launchers by tricking up ramps. Following that, you could either rail grind for a fast path or go down below for whatever reason, with steep ramps to bring you back up to the rails. Shortly after that, if you know how to, you could ride the giant walls to your sides for a speed boost. The final section before the finish line is the confrontation between you and Robo DK. You could either play this normally and avoid his barrels to keep a steady lead, or you could try to rail grind to skip the barrels entirely. Whatever you do, it'll end with you going under Robo DK, and from there, the boss fight is officially over, and so is the Mushroom Cup. Overall, I don't think it'd be controversial to say that from a design perspective, DK Spaceport is by far the best finisher to any Mushroom Cup. The only thing that comes even remotely close would be Toad's Factory. But Donkey Kong's better than Toad. Shut up. To finish my thoughts on the cup, I think not only does it do its job really well as the starter cup, introducing us to the new mechanics like rail grinding, wall riding, and intermissions, the track themselves are done really well, with a connected theme of a Mesa theme that gives this cup even more personality. And finally, compared to everything else that's come before it, I think I've given my reasons on why I believe Mario Kart World's Mushroom Cup is the best in the series, with Mario Kart Wii coming in second place. But with that said, that's it for today's video. Are you mad if I didn't bring up any of the Mario Kart DS tracks once? Let me know down below. Like and subscribe for more Mario Kart World content, and I'll catch y'all next time. Bye bye.